there we are. How's it going? As always, Nate Mumford, Director of Sales Engineering here at my house over in Connecticut. I hope you are happy, healthy, and safe and all of that good stuff. Welcome back once again to our RCS Live. I know, usually it's Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. I got some meetings going on this week, so we had to bump it up to today at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Going to talk about RCS and who we are, like all of our products. I know we kind of dive really deep into some of these RCS products, but I thought for today, we would take a step back and kind of talk about RCS as a whole and just kind of, what all of our wide array of products we have to offer for you and your radio solutions as well. As always, I do have my chat open over here. So hello, how's it going? You can always check in and answer your questions here if you'd wanted to. We are here to help out. That's the idea. So you got questions on any products, let me know. Keep it broad for today, but I always like to go and say if you have any questions here, both if you're live in the session or afterwards, if you comment, we will most likely reach back out to you and help you out there. Don't forget, there's always RCS support as well, and making sure that we take care of you. That's the idea here, And as you know, my big belief here for RCS Lives is, how do you know how to do something if no one told you it exists, right? That's why we're here. So you get your questions here if you would like. Hello, Diana. How's it going? And you can check in here as well. So any questions, let us know, guys and gals. So I thought for today we'd do this. We'll kind of split up talking about how the process works from the schedule in G Selector to Zetta to Revma and some of the sales stuff in Aquira. And then also I thought we would dive quickly, and I've been talking about this, some of these virtual conferences, some of the new product features for all of our products coming up for 2021 and 2022, right? So I'm using this homepage here as kind of a brief example just to show you some resources you have that you can go on your own and research. And that's just rcsworks.com. That's our URL. Just a friendly reminder, of course, before I forget, some housekeeping out of the way. Don't forget to check your backups, right? Remember, check your backups, the backup paths. Make sure they're working. If you have G Selector and Selector, check those data exchanges. And also, we are hiring as well. So if you're curious about working for, I think, a phenomenal company, we have looking for a media monitors install engineer. You get all those resources. Actually, it's right here, company and careers at RCS. You'll see that install engineer job there as well. So yes, right, Diana, sorry, thank you. So let's dive right into talk about some brief background of RCS. Before I forget, RCS Lives. If you go to rcsworks.com/rcs-live, that's this link right here. That's going to be our archive page. That's going to be essentially, after I do all these videos, I'm going to post them here on this section, right? That's the game plan. And so what you can do is you want, and I have some refreshing issues sometimes when I film this and go in the Chrome extension here. And so you can see there's G Selector themes and appearances, exploring RCS news. There's a bunch of these videos here. We put all of them in an archive on this page, right? And if you want to look at something, you can easily search it by going to this little magnifying glass up here, typing the phrase up there, and the search will pop right up. Otherwise, we also have this link right here, the blog section as well. This is what I do to help you out. I essentially go in and break down one of our videos and talk about some of those highlights. So last week we talked about the Zeta Stacks module, and you can see it's a brief background of what the Zeta Stacks module does, some of the features we talked about inside those videos. And so if you want to know more about this, you can easily go read on it and say, oh, that's something that pertains to me. I'm going to watch the video. Or if it doesn't, that's the idea too. We want to save you time from going through that video. That's not going to help you, right? So just to review RCS, yes, we are the worldwide leader in radio broadcast software. We take you from point A to point B and everything in between. So when we look at the process itself and some of these products we talk about, if you're not familiar with them. So me personally, I kind of start with G Selector and Aquira. Treat G Selector as the music scheduler. We curate a playlist, right, based on the goals and rules that you care about for a wide, vast array of scheduling techniques. This is huge. This is what everybody, one of the worldwide leading music schedulers all across the world use. It's all about you and your music scheduling philosophies. Again, going back to the RCS Live archives, there's some great videos in here. We talk about G Selector, some really, really good ones. So you can just go through here, skim that, or as I said, go through the blog type in G Selector in the search up here, find those resources for you, right? Some great, great videos there. Aquira is going to be the money side of things. That's going to be essentially, hey, Nate buys this commercial for $100. We have to bill him. This is his address. I want to make sure it plays at certain times of the day, rotate those commercials. That's what Aquira brings to the table, right? And again, the difference there, we get this question a lot. The difference between G Selector and Aquira, it's really about billing. You can always rotate certain things like underwriting over in G Selector, but the idea is that in Aquira, there are billing tools to say, hey, Nate, you said you would pay us $100 for these commercials. Here's an affidavit of how they ran. I can then go and bill you in there, right? And there's some really cool, I think we're introducing some web features of there as well in Aquira, which is really cool. So just be aware, that's the big difference, right? G Selector is going to be the music scheduling. Traffic is going to be the billing aspect in there as well. Now we take both of those logs and we send them over to Zetta, right? That is our automation software, our latest and greatest. Treat this as essentially the brains versus the bronze. If G Selector is the brain, Zetta could be, or sorry, if G Selector is the brain, Aquira is going to be your wallet, and then Zetta is going to be the brawn here in this process, right? This is what's going to play out everything. And of course, because we have all these products, these all accumulate within the RCS environment. So we have services that talk between each of these products for live real-time integration. Over in Aquira, we have Aquira Sync. So your commercials and your traffic load land instantly automatically in Zetta, especially when you make changes throughout the day, right? Zetta can go and output a reconciliation log once an hour for traffic to grab and reconcile or do live reconciliation, stuff like that. G Selector and Zetta 100% integrated. If I make a change in G Selector, it's reflected in Zetta. If Zetta skips a song, that song is skipped in G Selector and put back into the rotation with a higher score because it didn't get played, right? And it's a very important to note, look at all these products we have in our repertoire. And as I said, they all utilize RCS services. What you'll see a lot is some other users and other clients, they'll have essentially, oh, we use Skype for this, or we use that for this. And they kind of take other systems and combine them into one. Or if you have, let's say, different platforms in there too, you might go for support, for example. You'll have to go to that company for one and that company for the other, which in this case, it's all us. It's all in here. And with a growing concern of security and cyber attacks, it's also important to know when we talk about that integration, especially when we talk about the Zetta RCS disaster recovery. Those are services. Those are built into our software. We're not kind of going making these protocols, the handshakes, if you will, outside. They are within our software, right? That's the idea. So once we're in Zetta, we also have our streaming provider, Revma. That's our content delivery network, where you take that encoder, the signal from Zetta, you push it to a digital URL. We take that URL wherever you want it to go. That's where you broadcast from on the digital side of things. That's where Revma comes into play, right? And this is a great transition. Look at that. See, I love this. All right. So we had a great question here, right? Shikar. So hi, I'm a radio jockey from India. I work for Big FM. Kudos, shout out there. And since COVID, we are working from home. And that's such a really important point to make. And it's funny, if you've been watching these videos, then you know that I've really been it's been easy for me because we already been doing remote workflows from home. I've been pushing for years that, as radio people, we shouldn't be tied to the studio. We need to be more flexible, right? And that's where our Zetta disaster recovery and our RCS to go comes into play. I mean, each one of these products, Zetta to go, G Selector, Selector to go, Acquirer to go, they all have tools to help you continue to broadcast remotely, in those, in that working from home situation, right? So RCS to go, again, we click on this link over here, it's going to bring you to a bunch of our to go products, right? That's Zetta to go, Selector to go, and so much more. And the idea here is that we want to keep you synced up. We got some videos and teasers for you, but it wouldn't be really helpful if there was actually more of, some RCS Live archives, right, Shikar? And so you can do here is you can see there's definitely Zeta to go deep dive. That's a great one for you right there, right? So what you can do is just right click on this, copy that up here, go and type up there into the search bar, type in Zeta to go deep dive, and you'll see one of the first searches that pops up here. Just click on that link, Zeta to go deep dive. We'll click on this and it'll give you an entire detailed of how this works, how Zeta to go works, some great benefits to it, some user examples, and so much more. As you can see, I try to be detailed in here so that it saves you time. That's the idea. And then, of course, another great question. Are there any apps in Android and iOS, right? Great question. So we don't operate on apps. I should correct that. NextGen does have the iPush app, but we're talking about 2000s technology. Now we're talking about 2020 technology. So we don't use any type of apps. They're all URL, right? And I was going to hide my bookmarks, but I guess I'll show it here anyway. Boom. So one of the things that I like to always showcase when we talk about remote workflows, right, Shakar? Yeah, so just like iPush. Yep. So it wouldn't be like iPush. This would be an app itself. So you can see here I have Zeta to go. I have WRCS Zeta to go. I have KRCS Zeta to go. These are my three machines. This is my Zeta to go locally. This is going to be my RCS. That is over in our home base and headquarters in New York. And that has a sister station, which is the West Coast version over at KRCS. And the idea here is I can actually, from my home studio, I can remote into one and I can do a break that's, 101.1 WRCS FM. It is Nate. This is the song. Then I can go to WRCS FM and I can say something like 103.7 WRCS HD2. This is Nate. Then I can jump over here to KRCS Zeta to go. I can go in there and say, 93.7 KRCS FM. It is Nate, right? Those are some tools you can do in there, right? And you can see that one of the things I've really tried to highlight in these RCS Lives is this idea of remote hybrid workflows, taking a little bit of here and a little bit of there and kind of meshing them together. And again, going back to the whole premise, how do we connect those sites? It's with Zeta services, with Zeta to go and Selector to go. And we can broadcast over digitally with Revma and Zeta, right? That type of, you can see now, if I go back to our main page, you can see how we start taking each of these products and building it into a straight workflow from point A to point B. And of course, was not very nice. We also have RCS News too is here as well. So if you have any kind of newsrooms, any reporters in there, the same process works for RCS News. The only difference there is they kind of treat their own little entity and they pipe in some of that audio. But we do share that audio with the Zeta and NextGen environment. And we just did a video a couple weeks ago on the archive of RCS News, which is a great deep dive for you as well. As C-Tip was pointing over here, love these comments, guys. Yep. Welcome. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Perfect stuff. And so Shikar was also saying, how about callers on live? So we have that as well. So there's a couple ways you can do it, right? You can always have some type of GPO aspect or some kind of, integration in there. The way that we do it in Zeta, again, we're flexible. The beauty about Zeta and the beauty about RCS is that we have some workflows we can incorporate. And so when COVID hit, your great case in point is I want to have people on the air and calling, right? We have Zeta and we have Revma. Revma has a conference app that we have built in there. And what you can do is you can take the Zeta, we put it to a hotkey as like an on-off switch. Revma has this service called a conference app. And this is all on video, by the way. I'm going to pull up in just a second. And the Revma conference app will allow us kind of a virtual studio, if you will. And then what you can do is you enable the virtual studio. Like I could be the host, invite you, Shankar, and then have, multiple people in here. Maybe we invite C-Tip as well. And then we can have in that room that's where the digital feed is. And then in Zeta, we essentially go and we connect all of them together, right? That's the idea. So just so you know, that's how it works over there. And that video, by the way, is going to be, if I remember, is it remote? It's disaster recovery, questions, answers, the time of remote workflows. It's one of these, and I can try to post it for you, but there's a whole bunch of these. It's the disaster recovery, questions, answers, and the time remote workflows. There's a whole bunch of these features in here that we have in our videos. So definitely go through the blog, type in remote workflows. That's going to help you out and show you exactly that Revma conference app and how it works. Right? Right, Diana? I couldn't tell if that's a smiley face or not a smiley face. Oh, it won't display on here. I'll tell you it's a smiley face. All right. So from there, what's this? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so what we can do here is, let's see. So that's kind of RCS in a nutshell, right? We have all these products, we have all these resources for you to both make sure that your on-air product goes from point A to point B, but also be helped to identify some of those things, right? That's over here, Shikar, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I don't, I sincerely apologize. We want to be here to broadcast live to help you out and answer this question. So we love, especially me personally, propose the scenario. I'm looking to do this, and we will get you there, right? That's the idea, and that's the whole thing. So, for example, I want to working from home. I'm remotely. We have users have morning shows all across the U.S. How can I incorporate some of those workflows so I can continue to broadcast on the air from home with multiple microphones and multiple inputs, right? That's the idea. So definitely let us know what we can do to help out. We'll point you in the right direction. And again, that RCS Live is such great resource there too. It's just rcsworks.com. I'll go back over here for you to show you one more time. It's just rcsworks.com/rcs-live. And we can definitely help you out there too, if need be, right? Tons of resources there for you as well. All right. So I do have some questions open there. So if you have any questions, let me know. But I thought for right now, I would just quickly pivot over here. This has been a presentation I've been talking about. Just a quick 5-minute presentation on new products we have for over here in RCS. We did some stuff for NAB and some other clients as well. So I thought for today, we just quickly, talk about it. So what all the products we had, and then how we're going to continue those products into 2021, into 2022. So just a little background for you. All of our products, we do about 2 to 3 releases per year on each of our products. And that's all for most part right now. Everybody really is in the enhancement stage of the software, which is great, right? This is not, all these pieces of software are not really brand new. We're really, really expanding and enhancing these products. So starting with Zetta, and I have some quick screenshots here. Again, just very quickly, just kind of show you some highlights here. I have some great videos on all these deep dives and these resources. Right now, we have 5.21.1. That's the Zetta version, as in, 2021 in the first part of that. We have Zetta 5.21.2. I think it's in beta next week, and we're always looking for beta users as well. So if you want to test the latest and greatest RCS software, reach out to myself or support or the sales, and we'll put you in touch to get you some of those beta software as well. We have those brand new themes. Zetta's all about the user experience, making sure we customize your workflows. So we have dark mode, we have light mode. That's the dark mode right here. I'll have a screenshot for you in just a second. Going back to Zetta to go, we have the dark mode now enabled there. Talking about COVID workflows, Shikar. We heard a lot. This is I've kind of dubbed this, our lack of everything, a COVID version. So we started working on this about March of last year. And what happened in March of last year? That's when COVID hit. And so we had a lot of users, asking us, we were kind of asking around, what are some things you need? What are some things you want? And across the board, everybody was just, we need to have volume markers, marking points, trim in, trim out, and our voice tracking Zetta to go, because more and more users were voice tracking with Zetta to go. And so we completely redesigned the voice tracking module inside Zetta to go with, of course, trim in, trim out, and volume points. It's really, really great over there. And of course, don't forget about Zetta cloud-based disaster recovery, right? I just did a video on that about 2 weeks ago about cybersecurity, how all of your assets are reflected back into the cloud as well. We're talking like, logs, metadata, audio, SQL backups. Any changes is reflected instantly to the cloud. Again, using a Zetta site replication service, not a third party in there either. And what that does is it allows you to back up all your files safely and securely using Amazon Web Services. It's not a VM. It's not an app. It is true software written on and for Amazon Web Services, following best practices and securities, right? So you can continue to broadcast from from Zetta cloud-based disaster recovery. There's even some great features where this might pertain to you, Shikar. You can actually voice track without a VPN because we have its own Okta login and securities for Zetta Cloud disaster recovery. So what you can do is you can log into Zetta Cloud. You have your own username and password. You then have, open the voice tracker. You have your log, click on empty voice track position, record that, and then we have the technology for your local Zetta to see that, have that element restore back into your local Zetta instance. And I have some videos on there too, right? Let's see here. I'm just looking for here. Yeah, and so going back to this, a great point over here. Yep, close that guy over here. We like to do a travel show, so rather than a laptop PC, we'd like us to sorry, I gotta close this little thing here. Use mobile with mic connected to it as well. That is what I have right here. That's my laptop right over there. I got the RE20 connected to a DBX processor with a Focusrite USB. I have it connected to my Zetta. That's my setup. That's what I do. In fact, I have a couple users. They have 65 markets here in the US. I know what they do for their Zetta to go is they have a USB mic. They have that going through the laptop, and that's how they do their remotes is they use their Zetta to go. So they'll have a local password. They go on site to a car dealership. They'll pot it up. They'll connect their microphones, and that's how they broadcast live. Very similar to probably that setup, Shikar, just so you know. All right, so let's go back quickly here. Very, very quickly. Let's see. So that's a picture of our dark mode. That's my personal favorite. There's also light mode as well. Again, all about your experience. I like to customize it so you can see light, dark, or metal. It's really your choice. This is the Zetta to go. These are the marks I talked about, by the way, Shikar. So you can see here, I have essentially that line there is the trim in. That line there is the trim out. Here are all my markers here. I can ride the fader and the volume points. You can see I have some other options here as well for fade in, fade out. That's going to be those markers. And I can still control the on-air product over here. That's the on-air sequencer. That's the log. That's my library. So perhaps for your travel show, what you'd want to do is, record some elements, drag it into the library, or maybe do a direct voice track. It's up to you. Obviously, there's different behaviors. This is internet driven. So just be aware if you're doing like a hour-long segment, you might want to have a local dedicated recorder for that first. But there's tons of options. Again, as I said, reach out. We'll help you out and point you in the right direction on what you want to do. This is the Zetta Cloud instance. So this would be essentially, as you can tell, very similar to that of Zetta to go. We have the on-air module here, some hotkeys, our library. This is the playlist or the logs module. And then the voice tracker here again, so I can voice track my elements. This is how you would record those empty voice tracks back into Zetta. You would just click on an empty voice track position and then record it, save it. It will land back in your traditional Zetta as well. Right? Makes sense? Over to G Selector, we just had released 4.90.50, just got to beta as well. So if you want to check the latest and greatest selector, G Selector 5.0, there's some really, really cool features here. I'm saving it, but we're going to completely show the redesigned G Selector, which is really, really cool. We have new themes, introduction of flex clocks. This is the idea that I can schedule one 60-second clock or one 24-hour clock if I wanted to. We also have 99 custom user-defined fields, expanded jobs, and so much more. Here's a larger screenshot of those flex clocks here. It's a really cool feature. You can see here, granularity speaking. I can filter how I want to adjust this. I can look at the entire day for satellite syndication programming. I can have one 5-hour clock, do my commands, call it a day, right? So really, really helpful, really options that you can really customize your clock structure. And it's also important to note that all of these, by the way, just so you know, we can always override another grid for like a holiday, like for Thanksgiving, or we can override clocks for any types of sports programming. That's the most common practice there. And then we have our other products as well. I talked about Aquira, right? The kind of the money person in this entire process. Don't forget about Aquira to Go, where the sales reps can continue to work from the road. We have Zetta Aquira Sync to make sure your traffic directors don't need to have access to Zetta per se. They can make those changes to the traffic log on the fly. Call them up. Hey, Dawn, I had to move this commercial on for whatever reason. Sounds good. She can go in and Aquira, make some changes, automatically send them back over to Zetta. So you don't have to call her and play that kind of phone tag back and forth. You can see I have some screenshots here of some budgets over in our Aquira to Go. We have Revma. That's our content delivery network. Integrated workflows with Zetta cloud-based disaster recovery, as well as, we talked about that conference app in Zetta to Go. Advanced analytics in here. So for example, like devices, you can see what devices they're listening on, either Alexa or iPad or something like that. That's in there too. That's our Aquira. Sorry, that's our Revma in there. And as I said in the beginning of this video, we also have resources like RCS Academy, getting you certified in G Selector in Zetta. We're about ready to just launch the G Selector 2.0 Academy certification. That's going to be done probably the end of November or so. We have Zetta as well that's in there. And this is a great resource to get you certified in either G Selector or Zetta. It's a really, really great experience for both beginners, intermediate, and advanced users. We talked about the RCS Live archive as well to help you out there as well. Diane is team light mode. Yes, listen, it's all about you. I totally respect it. Absolutely. I mean, me personally, I like it. It's great. When dark mode came out, I was really, really excited. I'm not going to lie. I was really, really excited about that. So, and of course, any questions, let us know what we can do here to help out as well. So I'll do kind of last call for questions here. Try to get it in, try to get out. I love it, Diana. That's great. And so, yeah, that's, again, a brief overview. I cannot express it enough. If you have any kind of topics you want covered in the future, or if you want to help me point you in a certain direction about some more videos, like, for example, Shikar was talking about Zetta to Go. There's an entire video here, a Zetta to Go deep dive to help you out there as well. So, right? Makes sense? So, if I'm not mistaken, yes, I will see you next Thursday. It's the Thanksgiving week. We will not be here. So I'll see you next Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time for another RCS Live. Thank you so much for the questions. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next week.